G'day, it's Chris. On today's show, I want to visit the Moonee Valley Electric Vehicle Festival, and this is going to be hopefully a great demonstration to people in this area of like Ascot Vale and nearby about what electric vehicles look like. Cars, bikes, scooters, that sort of stuff. But importantly, there's going to be a few politicians there, a little bit of a sneak peek as to who, and I hope to get an interview from them. So without further ado, let's get into it.
I think back to the last federal election where Labor proposed charging stations on a national highway and other support for electric vehicles. And the current buffoon, who is there also the Prime Minister, he said it was the end of the weekend.
Thanks for your time. What are your thoughts on the electric vehicle proposal around taxing, motorists in Victoria?
I think the Victorian government's doing a lot of good things for EV. So they've got a whole strategy, so I'm not going to start picking off bits of the strategy. That's for them. My focus is federal. I think that the federal government needs to apologise to the nation for taking down the wrong path and turning us into an automotive third world. In England, over 10% of new cars are electric. In parts of Europe, over 45%, but here we're at 0.7%. I think Mr Morrison should look closely at Labor's policy of removing import tariffs. I get the price of electric vehicles is a challenge, so we've got to have strategies to get that price down. I also get that there is a concern around range anxiety. How long can a car go before it runs out of charge? So I think we need to put more charging stations out there, but I think the electric vehicles are part of our future, both in climate and value. And cost of living. Petrol reduces the cost.
Fair enough. Good. All right, thanks very much. Quick questions, if you wouldn't mind. Just wondering about what your thoughts are on the proposed battery electric vehicle tax that might be introduced very soon.
Yeah, so we're working through these matters. We're very keen to make sure that we have all the infrastructure for our electric vehicles. As Transport Minister, we've got $20 million that we're investing to first begin with the transformation of our bus fleet, but then also too, I'm very keen to see more investment in active transport, and we do need to work through some of the issues for our charging infrastructure and continuing to work through that, and we'll have more to say in due course.
Okay, great, thank you. And appreciating that, yes, there's a proposed $30 million plan around what's going to be used this money for, but conversely, do you see that there's actually a place to support EVs and this might actually disincentivise them?
Look, electric vehicles are very much where there's such a global movement. As a former industry minister, I've been studying this matter. I've been and met with Tesla overseas. I've also seen what's coming out of Detroit by the big manufacturers. So I do think as prices continue to get driven down, we're seeing Nissan come out with a vehicle very soon. I know Ford and General Motors are bringing out vehicles. I do think electric vehicles is a very big growth area. And I think also too that we in Victoria, through our university sector, are well known for our design. Most of our design engineers end up at car companies. There's a real opportunity to really make sure and try and build back for Victoria to have a very strong role with the future of electric vehicles. So I do think their future has arrived, and both at the state and national level, and like we are here in Ascot Vale, City of Moonee Valley, there's a role for us all to be advocating and pushing for it. But I think from the state perspective, buses, looking at our fleet, we're very mindful to be leaders in this space.
Just one more question, is that okay?
Oh, yeah.
So Infrastructure Victoria released last week its report.
Yes.
Have you had a chance to have a look at that, and you had any thoughts around what you might adopt?
Yeah. So their report, as always, is very informative. I've met with Infrastructure Victoria. Indeed, I've met with Infrastructure Australia as well. We're very proud of the investments we're making, from our solar farms to electric buses to active transport. But we do want to keep, Minister D'Ambrosio is passionate about rolling out the infrastructure, and that's very critical. I know my own electorate in Airport West, At Westfield, we've got charging infrastructure, but we do need to work through where are the other places that we need that charging infrastructure as well. So Infrastructure Victoria are a very important partner and a very important guide for how we roll out charging infrastructure.
All right, thanks very much.
Pleasure.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Okay, look, that was a great little event there at the Moonee Valley Electric Vehicle, whatever the name of that thing was. A lot of awesome stuff there, such as like there was electric assist bikes, the ones with the hub motors, scooters. Look at this thing, it's like a, I don't know, a cargo carrier with honey. And there's this awesome character who had engineered his own bike and put electric motors onto it, and so as he described it, it was all-wheel drive. Hilarious stuff, but he's making a point, and this guy was like one of the first in Australia to buy an electric vehicle, the iMEV, and it was awesome to see. And there was other cars there, obviously. You had your Teslas, you had your Kona EVs, and a few others, and it was a great example, I think, to demonstrate that there's some choice out there in Australia, and also the ambition for people to actually do the right thing and get involved and play their part, and to hopefully demystify that these are cars. These are just cars. So don't be afraid of them. Don't be afraid, Scott Morrison. And the talking with the politicians was interesting, but you get the usual. Basically, I'm not going to answer your question, so I tried. But it was great to hear Bill Shorten and Ben. And look, at a side note, I wasn't able to capture that bit, but Ben's actually trying his best to allow for electric scooters, and I guess hopefully electric wheel bikes like this guy's here. So he's hoping that in Australia sometime soon we'll just see EVs as the main cars that, you know, people can drive and actually have a great deal of selection from, and importantly that they're affordable. So yeah, it was a fun little afternoon, and you know, if you enjoyed the video, you know what you can do. Think about subscribing, hit that like button, and otherwise, you be good and you be green.